I've been wanting to build a miter saw station for a couple of years now. The idea is to build a station that would house my miter saw, most of my benchtop tools, and also provide plenty of storage. I sketched the basic idea through and the rough dimensions on a piece of paper. I took my notes to the home center, had them make all the rip cuts on the plywood, and this made it a lot easier for me to handle the sheets. I could simply take them back to the shop and make the remaining cuts with a guide and a circular saw. I cut the smaller pieces, or the center braces, on the table saw. After cutting all my pieces, I drilled several pocket holes on the side and the bottom panels. I also drilled pocket holes on the ends of the center pieces of the plywood. I use these homemade corner clamps to help with the assembly of the cabinet carcass. There are several ways you can build a cabinet carcass, and this might not be the best, but it works for me. I wanted to add drawers to the otherwise wasted space of the toe kick area of the cabinet. I'm adding a simple frame and leaving the front open for the drawers. After completing two identical cabinets, I began to work on the face frames using pine. I cut all the pieces to length and drilled 2 pocket holes on each end. The assembly is relatively simple. Apply glue to one end and clamp the pieces down. Drive one screw in and remove the clamp. Then drive in the last screw. I'm using several scrap pieces of wood to act as spacers. I'll make sure everything is square and repeat the process. I used a clamp to hold the face frame in place while I used several screws to secure it. In a previous video, I made these cabinet levelers using a 5/16 T-nut, a 5/16 bolt, and an HDPE cutting board. If you're interested in seeing how I made these, make sure to check out that video. I'll leave the link in the description below. When the time came to look for drawer slides, I realized this was an area that would kill my budget. I went to my friend Nick Ferry for some advice, and no surprise to me, he had done his research and found a great deal on slides, sold in multiple of 10 sets. If you're interested, make sure to go over to Nick Ferry's website at nickferry.com, click on his About page, and you'll find the links to these drawer slides. Prior to installing the slides, I made a quick jig that would hold the spacer and the drawer slide in place. This spacer is just thick enough so that the drawer slide clears the face frame. With a couple of screws in place, I could take the scrap piece of drawer front material and make sure everything is flush. Then I can just adjust and drive in the rest of the screws. I'll remove the jig and rinse and repeat. Off camera, I placed the cabinets in their final home and made sure they were still level. I clamped a piece of plywood to the side of each cabinet and cut these old desktops to the final size. I placed my miter saw in place and made the necessary adjustments until everything was lining up perfect. Now I could go back and secure the miter saw top in place and remove the clamps. Although I could have made a third cabinet for the center section, I decided to make this platform and secure it in place with a couple of screws. I'm securing this piece of plywood to the sides of the cabinet. These pieces will give me a way of securing the face frame later. I drilled a hole in the desktop material to receive this homemade blast gate. This blast gate is just a modified version of J. Bates' blast gate design. I just added a way of securing it from the underside and made a longer handle with the side rails. As an afterthought, I realized I had enough room for a couple of small drawers on each side. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of this build. If you're interested in what I'm up to, make sure to visit my social medias. I'll leave the links down below in the description. I hope I've earned your subscription. If I have, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.